Hi, I'm Lynn O'Neal. I work at Willow Point Golf Shop, and I have for the past 10 years. Periodically we all go to have mammograms. I've really only had 3 mammograms in my whole life. So the third one came back. I got a letter stating that they wanted to do more testing. At that point, I was extremely nervous. So I made the phone call, had a sonogram, they called me back. The results came back, they called me back. They wanted to do a biopsy. We did several biopsies. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I was scared out of my mind. I didn't know what to think. I didn't know what to do. But at that point, my prayer was, Lord, please don't let me have cancer. But in the second breath, my next prayer was, if I do, don't let them miss it. Let them find it so we can deal with it. And as it turns out, it was breast cancer. But they caught it early. It was an early detection, and we dealt with it. I remember the date of my lumpectomy specifically, 6/12/12. But I wasn't exactly nervous about it. I just knew everything was going to be okay. And my mom is also a breast cancer survivor, and this March will mark her 5th anniversary. So really excited about her milestone, celebrate with her. And so I saw how she handled it, how she was diagnosed and is a survivor and is as active as she ever was. You know, people are scared of the C word. I had 3 C words. First there was cancer, then there was chemo, and to be honest with you, I was more terrified of chemo than the cancer. But the third C word that I was not prepared for, it was the most beautiful of all. My oncologist told me, cure, that they're not just remission, but with this treatment, with this, we called it early detection, is definitely the key, and that now I'm looking at a cure. So that was the best C word of all. So I remember when I was told that I had no choice but to go through chemo. Radiation I expected, but I never expected that I would have to go through chemo. It just wasn't on my radar. It definitely wasn't part of my plan. But there's a bigger plan. And a lot of times in life, things happen that you can't expect, you can't predict, and you can't control. So I called my friends. I definitely leaned on their strength. I would say that was my number one thing that got me through it, was my faith, my family and my friends, and my family and friends with faith. So when it got really hard, and when after several treatments of chemo and I got really tired, I remember one night in particular that I used to go for walks with my husband, and I wanted to go for a walk. So he walked with me. We went a couple of blocks. It took us 30 minutes, but we did it. And that was one of the things that Dr. Sheffield told me in the very beginning, was stay as active as you can, as long as you can. And to be honest with you, I'm still holding on to that advice today. You know, it's not just when times are tough, but it's for everyday life. It's for those little aches and pains. It's for the moment you don't feel like doing the thing that you're supposed to do. Just keep doing your best, try your hardest. You know, if there is anyone out there who is going through breast cancer, or any cancer for that matter, or any struggle for that matter, or your family, or your loved ones, basically the The thing that I would say to you is just love them through it. You know, if you get nervous about it, then perhaps they'll respond that way. But if you're just yourself, continue to love them. I'll say one of the things that was the biggest thing was the smallest things. Things like leaving a text message, all the letters of encouragement that I got, just a simple note. And if you don't know what to say, then don't say anything at all. Just the hugs, just knowing that support group is the biggest thing. So my mom and I both are cancer survivors, breast cancer survivors. But the real thing is, had Mom not gone to get her mammogram and found it so early, I think it would be a different story. And same thing is true for myself. I started having mammograms once my mother was diagnosed, and once she was a survivor, I realized how important it was for her health. And I wanted to be sure that I was as healthy as I could be for as long as I can be. When they did find my tumor, after my lumpectomy, they discovered that I had a tumor in my lymph nodes. And that goes back to my prayer that I prayed. First I prayed not to have cancer, but then I prayed if I had cancer, then let them find it, don't let them miss it. The tumor in my lymph node was the size of a mustard seed. It was so small, but if I hadn't had a mammogram at all, if I hadn't been tested, if they hadn't found it, then that tumor in my lymph node would have continued to grow. It would have continued to spread throughout my body. And so I am extremely blessed and fortunate that I did have my mammogram, and I encourage each and every one of you, not just for yourself, but for your sisters, for your daughters, for your nieces, your moms, your aunts, everybody. Please get a mammogram regularly, every year. Don't skip it, don't miss it. It's that important. You know, people have asked me, what has my journey, what does it mean to be a survivor? And I'll be honest with you, my perspective of life has completely changed. You know, I want to be a better person. I want to be active. I want to do more things. One of the biggest things that I've noticed is, well, the big things are small and the small things are so big. At the point of my diagnosis, cancer, well, that was a big thing, but I couldn't focus on that, and I couldn't focus on the chemo, and I couldn't focus on being bald. I just knew that I was myself, and so I focused on the small things, people sending me cards, and there are a couple of cards in particular, that scriptures that stood out to me, and one in particular was Romans 12:12, and it says, "Be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, and faithful in prayer." And it's a very short and simple verse, but it got me through. It got me through the roughest times. And I think whether you're going through a tough time or not, it's good words to live by.